Bring your broken alleluia here. Bring the large one that is beyond repair. Bring the small one that's too soft to share. Bring your broken alleluia here. I know that people have told you that before you can give, you have to get yourself together. They overstated the value of perfection by a lot. Or they forgot you are the gift. We all bring some broken things, songs and dreams, and long lost hopes. But here and together, we reach within. As a community, we begin again. And from the pieces, we will build something new. There is work that only you can do. We wait for you. At this time, let us light our candles of community. You can light them for a joy or a concern or simply to bring more light into this room a couple of days before the winter solstice.
Dark of winter, soft and still, your quiet calm surrounds me. Let my thoughts go where they will, ease my mind profoundly, and then my soul will sing a song, a blessed song of love eternal. Gentle darkness, soft and still, bring your quiet to me. Darkness, soothe my weary eyes, that I may see more clearly. When my heart with sorrow cries, comfort and caress me. And then my soul may hear a voice, a still small voice of love eternal. Darkness, when my fears arise, let your peace flow through me.
Let us stand in body or spirit for the lighting of the chalice and our spoken affirmation. Reverently, I offer this symbol of our hope and high intent. Reverently, I bequeath this flame to you. This is the light that is lit for everyone who comes into the world. Bear this light to others one by one. Let the flame go from life to life till all is lit with its warmth. Tell that the light means wisdom. Tell that the light means kindness. Tell that the light means understanding. Tell that the light means tolerance. Tell that the light means sacrifice. Tell that the light is a vision of a fairer world. Tell that this is the light that is lit for everyone who comes into the world. Let us join together in our spoken affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and freedom, and to help one another. You may be seated. Our opening thought comes from the poet Rumi. Search the darkness. Sit with your friends. Don't go back to sleep. Don't sink like a fish to the bottom of the sea. Life's water flows from darkness. Search the darkness. Don't run from it. Night travelers are full of light, and you are too. Don't leave this companionship. Be a wakeful candle in a golden dish. Don't slip into the dirt like quicksilver. The moon appears for the night travelers. Be watchful when the moon is full.
Our glimmers of silver this morning is how we ended up owning a Catholic church building. It was 2009, and we knew that we had to leave where we were on Harrison Street. And I drove by this abandoned church and had a for sale sign. I called the number, and the guy said, well, I'm here if you want to come and look at it. And I said, okay, I'll come and look at it. And this is a building. And it's kind of a nice looking building. And I looked inside, go to the next one if you would, Don. And, well, you can see the different rooms. And it was just one long chapel and this long room on the side and a small kitchen. And we came and looked at it, and we thought about various things, how much it would cost, and I don't remember the asking price. But we decided it wasn't going to work for us. Flash forward to the beginning of 2010, and I'm having coffee at Starbucks in Richardson, and in walks Sib, the owner of the church. And I said, oh, I remember you. And he said, yeah, I remember you. So we had this very long conversation in which he told me of his story of walking over the mountains to flee from Syria. And I thought, geez, we need to ask this guy to give us a Sunday morning. And in the course of the conversation, I said, how's that old church doing? Oh, you don't want to know. The regulations from the city were too much. No condos are going in there. And I said, oh, that's tough. And he said, yeah, I haven't had many bites on trying to sell the building. And I said, well, keep this in mind. If it works out, talk to your accountant and ask if it would be less costly for you to donate the church to a nonprofit that's tax exempt than it would be to sell it. And we finished coffee and we went away. And several days or weeks later, he called and said, you still want that damn church? And I said, this is a congregational choice, not mine. And so we all talked about it. And yeah, so we got the building and we put it up for sale. And that's what it looks like now. And you can see what it looks like on the inside too. It turned out to be a really nice building. We put it for sale by sealed bids, and the winning bid was $12,000, and it was Dan's sister, Carol, and her husband, Bill Friedley, right, they have both spoken, and they were members of the church. They bought it, and they used it. Hopefully, they wanted to make it into a stage where musical presentations and a coffee shop, a coffee place, whatever. They had it for 2, 3 years. The biggest problem was there's no parking. And the neighbors along Owen Street were making it very clear they didn't like cars parked there by soaping the windows and being nasty. And Tommy, member of the church, who's a realtor, has sold the building twice since then. And someone, go to the next one, and then that's the chapel now. Looks pretty nice. And I think there's one more. Done well. You have a child. He just ran in and out. I believe the asking price was $279,000. Now, that was probably after they made all of the renovations. But it's a fun story, and who knows? It wouldn't have worked for us because of the parking. And just how do you get classrooms out of one long space? But it's a nice part of our history.
Let there be light, let there be understanding, let all the nations gather, let them be face to face. Open our lips, open our minds to ponder, open the door of concord, opening into grace. Perish the sword, perish the angry judgment, perish the bombs and hunger, perish the fight for gain. Let there be light, open our hearts to wonder, perish the way of terror, hallow the world God made.
Our next reading is from Barbara Brown Taylor from her work, Learning to Walk in the Dark. I have learned things in the dark that I could never have learned in the light. Things that have saved my life over and over again, so that there is really only one logical conclusion. I need darkness as much as I need light. Let us join together in our time of practices and meditation by hearing these words from Thich Nhat Hanh: when light shines, darkness becomes the light. Let us take a moment to rest our minds and our hearts, breathing in slowly and out. In and out. From time to time, you may become restless, and the restlessness will not go away. At such times, just sit quietly, following your breathing. Smile a half smile, and shine your awareness on the restlessness. Don't judge it or try to destroy it, because this restlessness is you yourself. It is born, has some period of existence, and fades away quite naturally. Don't be in too big a hurry to find its source. Don't try too hard to make it disappear. Just illuminate it. You will see that little by little it will change, merging, becoming connected with you, the observer. Any psychological state which you subject to this illumination will eventually soften and acquire the same nature as the observing mind. Throughout your meditation, keep the sun of your awareness shining, like the physical sun, which lights every leaf and every blade of grass. Our awareness lights our every thought and feeling, allowing us to recognize them, be aware of their birth, duration, and dissolution, without judging or evaluating, welcoming or banishing them. It is important that you do not consider awareness to be your ally, called on to suppress the enemies that are your unruly thoughts. Do not turn your mind into a battlefield. Do not have a war there. For all your feelings, joy, sorrow, anger, hatred, are part of yourself. Awareness is like an elder brother or sister, gentle and attentive, who is there to guide and enlighten. It is a tolerant and lucid presence, never violent or discriminating. It is there to recognize and identify thoughts and feelings, not to judge them as good or bad, or place them into opposing camps in order to fight with each other. Opposition between good and bad is often compared to light and dark. But if we look at it in a different way, we will see that when light shines, darkness does not disappear. It doesn't leave, it merges with the light. It becomes the light. A while ago, I invited my guests to smile. To meditate does not mean to fight with the problem. To meditate means to observe. Your smile proves it. It proves that you are being gentle with yourself, that the sun of awareness is shining in you, that you have control of your situation. You are yourself, and you have acquired some peace. It is this peace that makes a child love to be near you. Our next reading is from the sermon Loving Your Enemies by Martin Luther King Jr. Returning hate for hate multiplies hate, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that.
I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I walk the path with you. Go slow, dear one, don't hurry. I'll go just like you need to go. There is no need to worry, 'cause I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love.
So I have to begin by admitting that over the past 21 years, I've been much more aware of the winter solstice than I was 22 years ago, because December 21st will be our daughter Ray's 21st birthday. So I'm constantly reminded every year of the day that winter solstice comes, because it corresponds to her birthday, and we celebrate that, of course, every year, as we will be in a few days. So this week, as we experience the shortest day of the year for this part of the world, and also as we prepare for the return of longer days, which I always look forward to, it is a time to reflect on the ways that we can bring light into the darkness of the world, like so many who have gone before us, and like so many who journey on this earth with us today. It can be easy to equate the light with that which is good, and the darkness with that which is evil or bad. Perhaps this is owing to our actual experiences of danger that we've had in the dark. Or perhaps it's simply owing to the difficulty that we have making our way in the darkness without the presence of light. This dualistic view of light being good and darkness being bad has been reinforced by religious and cultural mythology and imagery, and we see it portrayed in literature and in film in powerful and sometimes very memorable ways. I'm sure that the Star Wars fans among us remember clearly that there are two sides of the Force: the dark side, which is bad, and the light side, which is good. The juxtaposition of light and darkness is one of the main reasons why persons in the Christian religion celebrate Christmas when we do, just a few days after the winter solstice. It has nothing to do with the actual date of Jesus' birth, But the imagery of Jesus being the light of the world that the darkness could not overcome lends itself well to celebrating his birth at a time that corresponds to when the days begin to get longer. It also enabled Christians to incorporate many of the pagan symbols and pagan rituals around the winter solstice into the Christian tradition, something that made Christianity even more inviting in an empire transitioning from paganism to Christianity. Of course, we all know that the actual relationship between light and darkness is much more nuanced and much less morally dualistic than simply seeing light as good and darkness as bad. There is a proper role and place for both light and darkness in our lives and in the life of all life on earth, and likely for much life that is beyond earth as well. Imagine, if you will, for a moment, an earth that did not rotate on its axis, or even an earth that rotates much slower on its axis, such that some portions of the earth would be in darkness for extremely long periods of times, and other parts would be in the sunlight for extremely long periods of time. Let us all realize that in imagining such an earth, we are imagining a planet that would not be able to sustain life. The long periods of darkness would bring extreme cold, and the long periods of light would bring extreme heat. Our experience of seasons brought on by relatively slight variations in exposure to sunlight gives us a glimpse of what such a world would quickly become. And it is a world devoid of life. The chances of life being able to evolve in such a way as to survive such extremes would be minuscule, and humans certainly could not survive under such conditions. Unfortunately, we don't have to imagine a world in which extreme temperatures are becoming more and more of a reality, owing to the human-induced climate change we are already experiencing. But it's no wonder that humans have celebrated the winter and summer solstices for centuries as a point of turning away from too much darkness or turning away from too much light, from either death by freezing or death by heat stroke. We rightly do not want Mr. Snow Miser or Mr. Heat Miser. You remember the two characters from the claymation Christmas specials of the past. We don't want Mr. Snow Miser or Mr. Heat Miser to run amok, to overwhelm the other. We need balance. We need times of light and times of darkness, times of warmth and times of coolness, times of activity and times of rest, times of bustling community and times of silent solitude. I'm struck by the lack of balance when it comes to light and darkness in our lives every time that I look up into the night sky where I live in Oklahoma City, in a city over-immersed in artificial light. The night sky is dull and mundane with only a few bright stars, the moon, and a few planets that can be seen. There is very little left of the natural grandeur and glory of the majestic sprinkles of light on a canvas of dark sky that inspire awe about our place in the universe. This is why I was so happy when our older daughter Ray had the opportunity to go to Big Bend National Park and be under the darkness of that sky and see the Milky Way as it's meant to be seen. In a world of too much light, We are unable to see the beauty that only the darkness can sometimes bring. And no one should have to live without ever seeing the wonder and beauty of the starry night. So the choice that we face when it comes to light and darkness is not simply one of choosing the light versus choosing the darkness, but rather knowing when we need more light and when we need more darkness in order to achieve the proper balance in which life and community might flourish. As with all things, context matters. And for those of us who are living in the Northern Hemisphere, and especially for those of us who live in the northernmost regions of the Northern Hemisphere, we are in that time of the year when we are looking for more light to come into our world. We are looking for ways to bring some light and warmth into this time of long and cold nights. Whether it be the light of a chalice or a candle or even a fake candle, the lights of decoration or the light and warmth of beloved community. And this winter, during this time of coldness and darkness, we must be in solidarity with all of those who by force or by other circumstance do not have enough light, do not have enough warmth in their lives, whether that be in a physical or emotional sense. We have the opportunity to be the light and the warmth for each other, especially with those who are most vulnerable among us. And this winter, we have a special responsibility to be in solidarity with and support of the millions of persons in Ukraine who are under a deliberate attack to make them live in darkness and the deadly cold when light and warmth are most needed. Our lives provide us with a choice of whether we will work for the proper balance of light and darkness in our world by working for the life-giving balance of love and justice, or will we become complicit in the ways of hate, fear, violence, injustice, and death? Those who have chosen the latter keep trying to kill the way of love and justice in this world, but it won't go away. Because it is alive, it continues to live in the beloved community that keeps seeking ways to overcome the ways of death in this world. In times that are overly dark, in times when it appears that the light may not return, and in times full of fear, hatred, and violence, it is important to remember that the forces of evil in days, years, and centuries past often thought that they had the last word, only to see that love and justice have a way of not being fully overcome by the darkness and continuing to live on. May we live in this hope. May we live out this hope into the world as we sprinkle the darkness with the stars of our community and our love. At this time, those who wish may bring their gifts to the table, and there are also ways to give online.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. We will sing in peace. We will sing in harmony. We will sing in peace. We will sing in harmony. We will sing in peace. We will sing in harmony. We will sing in peace. We will sing in harmony. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it
That was one of the most upbeat versions of This Little Light of Mine I've ever sung. Let us stand together in body or spirit for our parting thought and the extinguishing of the chalice. Our parting thought comes from a wise Oklahoman, Krista Tippett, from her book, Speaking of Faith. She writes, "If we wait for clean heroes and clear choices and evidence on our side to act, we will wait forever. And my radio conversations teach me that people who bring light into the world wrench it out of darkness and contend openly with darkness all of their days." Let us join in extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.